Raza, talk me through the process of how did Blue Chip was conceived. What was the idea behind it, and how is it different now than it was before?
What do you mean? Difference in formation of the company or to start up a business?
Absolutely. Start from the point that what were you thinking when you said, you know what, I'm going to open a real estate office and start selling Dubai?
As I told you, we were into IT placements and IT consultations and basically into training in the UK. So when we decided to come here, we were used to a particular process of opening up the company and all that in the UK, which is a very, very matured market in that. When we came here to open up a company, the first thing is the name. We were deciding about the name, Blue Chip. Being in IT for all these days, the Blue Chip was a premium name for us. Blue Chip, everything is Blue Chip companies, Blue Chip this, anybody placing in Blue Chip. So, the Blue Chip was there in our mind,
Okay.
So, and it gave us a kind of high. So when we landed, so we decided we'll be having Blue Chip as our name. And talking about the process difference of opening up a company then and now, right? Then the process was, we used to depend everything on a PRO, all right? It was all PRO. Anything, taking this paper to that office, to this office, it's PRO. There was nothing automated, there was nothing online. And the first challenge which we used to have is finding a sponsor.
Oh yeah. Back then you required a sponsor, but not anymore.
Even till last few years, we still were in the process of having a sponsor for every company. That time, finding a sponsor was a big challenge, and we need to have a sponsor whom we can trust on. Because he's a 51% shareholder in the company, And
so Blue Chip was formed as a LLC back then?
It was not a LLC that time. It was a single owner company.
Sole proprietor,
then we changed it into LLC.
Oh, okay.
And when we started, it was a single owner company where 100% was on the sponsor. Okay. Then we shifted it to LLC where it was 49 and 51. Look for a sponsor, negotiate what his fees would be, then deal with Chamber of Commerce, Dubai Economic Department. The process was very tedious and it was not fast. It used to take time. And we used to, and the only person we used to rely on was a PRO. Right? And we don't know what's happening. And there are a lot of typing centers, everything being done through them. And we coming from UK, it was very, very unclear, and we didn't know. It took a lot of time for us to blend into this kind of system. All right. But the government, the transformation of company formation and the speed of work, the clarity of work now is amazing. The transformation went on so well. Right now, if anybody wants to set up a company in any field, it's very easy. It's very easy, very secured, and very confident. There's no problem of you being deviated or any loophole on things not happening. So everything is crystal clear. Now you can set up the office the way you want. You want to get into a LLC, get into a single owner, or you want to become a professional single owner, professional license. There are plenty of license issuing authorities.
Correct.
Like free zones. There are many free zones.
Back then when you were here, how many free zones? I think
there were some free zones. There was Jebel Ali free zone. There was Dubai Internet City existed. Dubai Internet City was one.
You would know coming out of the IT field, that would have been a dream for you.
Yes, we looked into it. But it was a very tedious process back then, opening up a company and setting up the whole thing. But now the government has taken the steps which are, which made things very, 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 very easy.
I can't even imagine, honestly speaking, considering now how the process is. It's completely paperless.
Yes.
Everything is digitized, right?
Yes. And the automation is fantastic what they did. It's just amazing.
So back then when you opened up company, you mentioned that sponsor was the whole sole owner of everything, rather be it an LLC or sole proprietorship.
Yeah.
How did you come around, like you coming out of UK? Like, why did you accept the fact that, you know what, it's okay, I'll sleep well at night, knowing that my business is under someone else's name? How did you secure yourself?
Yeah, that was very difficult for us to digest. We couldn't, our system, the mind couldn't accept that. But still, looking at, the potential growth of the country, and we had faith in the government that things would not be like this. This would change. Definitely, it would be for better. And the way it changed was amazing. I can advise anybody around the world, if anybody wants to open up any company here or any business here, the process is very much streamlined, and it's very easy, and it's par to the international regulations.
Oh, that's super amazing. So living over here, Raza, for past 18 years, comparing 2005 to 2023 now, must be a big difference in what Dubai was then and now. Since you become a resident immediately, you must have seen a drastic change.
Oh, very drastic.
How lifestyle has evolved, how things have improved everywhere, or got worse perhaps in some cases. What's your take on it?
Dubai in 2005 and Dubai now, these are two different Dubais altogether. Might it be for any aspect, infrastructure, the way the businesses are done, the regulations, the lifestyle changes, might it be everything, the whole thing has evolved completely, from what it was before, right? Infrastructure, when in 2005, the infrastructure was it was very basic. Basic mean it may be better than some other parts of the world, but it was basic for Dubai. But for what we have right now it's all world-class infrastructure. Any best developed country in the world, we can compete with anybody in infrastructure, and the speed they make it, and the quality they make it, the finishes, and the connectivities, the connectivities between the area, the overall master plan, how they have planned Dubai, how they are connecting the, center of the Dubai to any community all over, right now, you take any place to downtown is not going to take 15-20 minutes.
I agree.
Within 15-20 minutes, you are in downtown from any part, might it be from Silicon Oasis side, to Marina side, might it be the other side, the thing has gone till Rimram,
all the way to the markets too.
Anywhere, any part between 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you can reach the downtown area. Back then, the Sheikh Zayed was it was a 3-lane road each side. I still remember, one of my friend, he drew me around, and that time we used to call this Marina roundabout. That was a bridge that time, which is a one lane bridge, 1 lane on each side. And he drew me around, and we stopped our car on the bridge, got down the car and took a picture, selfie with the Sheikh Zayed Road in the background. It was nothing, there was nothing, and now, you look at it, at some places it's 10 lanes each side, the expansion, the traffic, and the quality, it's not just expansion, but it's the quality as well. It's amazing quality, and the population increase, the quality of population. I mean to say the diversity of population, urbanization, how the urbanization took place, the population, 2005 was around 1.2 million, right? Which is right now current is around 3 million, right? In the span of the Dubai population, with the size, when we look at it, the way it increased, the way they did for people to come in the country, make this a home, and they have made this a hub, tourism was there before, but the way they jumped on the tourism, the way they upscaled the tourism, they made the international hub, expansion of the airport, before the airport was just Terminal 1, how they expanded Terminal 1 to Terminal 3, what footfall they're taking on a daily basis, it's amazing when you see the numbers. Dubai is one place in the world where multicultural population, exists, and the way they balance that out, how they do it, have no idea. But we see so much of diversity in the cultures, which makes it unique. Right, which makes, the food. I don't think there's any place in the world where we can get this quality and this variety of food, more authentic than where it's made.
That's true. People say this thing a lot about Indian food.
Yeah, Indian food, I feel Indian food is better here than India sometimes. So it has grown drastically. Dubai then and now is amazing. Might it be any sector? Might it be finance? Might it be tech? Might it be tourism? Logistics? Healthcare, education? And sustainability, we are far ahead in sustainability as well, comparatively to what we were in 2005. And overall, real estate is there anyways. Real estate is the top of the thing, how we evolved from 2005 till now, It's amazing. It's amazing looking at the whole scenario. Right?
When you were talking about how city has gained so much popularity around the world, hence you have so many nationalities living all together, right? Was Dubai less tolerant back then in terms of different religions living all together and more tolerant now, or there is no change at all?
No, I don't think there's any. It was tolerant before as well, but the population was less. Right now, the population has increased. They welcome, all kinds of communities and all kinds of cultures. We have physical temples here. We have physical mosques are there anyway. There are churches, there are gurudwaras. We have everything here. It's
that's the beauty
if anybody still. I think we are out of that myth. That myth was there before, where this is a Muslim country and everything goes according to Muslim culture and all that. No, they have given us freedom to be who we are, with a particular parameters. But it's a very healthy environment, very healthy environment.
I agree with that. Absolutely, yes. One of the biggest reasons that people are so open to come over here, move their lives literally to this city so instantly, is because of how welcoming this place is.
Yeah. What happened is back then, 2005, and now again comparing that, still people were a little hesitant of, okay, maybe a Muslim country, maybe the regulation is that, the rules would be this. Now that myth is gone. Everybody knows about Dubai in the world. Now nobody talks about, this happens there. No, that's finished. That myth is gone. They cleaned up. Back then there was a little bit of it, but now everybody is open.
Yeah, so Dubai was like this before, and now as well. It's just that people have more clarity on it because they can see that it is not the way it was portrayed before. One more thing I want to ask you about: how's the nightlife? Because Dubai is, as I said, is a hub of tourism, right?
Yeah.
Now we have so much to do around the city. You got the one of the world's best restaurants, bars. You got musicians coming from all over the world for concerts and whatnot. Back then, how was the nightlife? Did you still see those kind of things back then?
Oh yeah, nightlife was always there. Dubai was always known for its nightlife, But the range and the class of nightlife also changed as the time passed by. Now it's a different kind of lifestyle. You have the nightlife here right now. You have a wide range of options. Before the options were few, but the options now have increased. Catering to all kinds of people.
Okay, all right. Considering, Raza, that you've been living and doing business over here in Dubai for past 18 years, since 2005, how has the real estate market developed, comparing what were the main principles involved at that time versus now? How has it changed?
Real estate market from then to now, it has matured so much. Actually, in 2002, they launched their first freehold. There was no freehold before that. So they launched their freehold in 2002, and the actual sale of picked up in 2004. Okay. So that time, there was no RERA. This real estate regulatory authority was not there. So there is nobody to monitor the transactions properly, the quality of the transactions. So there was no transfer of the title deeds, or there was no process of as such. So we used to go to the developer's office and just change the name in the SPAs. And there was no Okut on there was no title deed, no pre-title deed, no title deed on any property in 2005. So later that all changed. Once the RERA came into place, or the regulations, it became at par to any other part of the world. Okay, that was one thing which was lacking that time. And escrow accounting for developers, that was not there. Developer, he can launch his project and he collects the money into his company account, and he used to launch another project and use this money into the other project. There was no financial discipline. So once again, escrow accounting, RERA, combinedly, that was in place. So once that came into place, now the developer collects the money into an escrow account of that particular project, and it's dispersed to only for that particular project. So this increases the safety, security of the investor's money, and it boosts the confidence of the investor. All right, and there was no strata law that time. Strata law covers the common area management, basically. Who is going to take care of the common area? How is the common area service charges collected, and how is being distributed? So that law was not there. That law again was implemented in 2007. And there was no law for no rental law. There used to be just a tenancy contract between a buyer and a seller, right? A landlord and a tenant. But there was no regulation on that. So there were a lot of conflicts. There's no place where we go when there's any conflict which arises. Right? So that again was implemented in 2007. And with this, there was no Ijari system. The tenancy contracts were never registered anywhere. It's a tenancy contract just made between a landlord and tenant, but it's not registered anywhere. And then service charges distribution. There's Mollak system which is in place now, which was not there then. The service charges again were collected by the developer, and the whole management was being done by the developer. There used to be chances of misuse of the funds there. So all these kind of things, evolved during this last couple of decades. And now, any investor who wants to invest, he has, full security of his funds, and none of his money will be anywhere being misused or misdirected anywhere. So the government has taken lovely steps on this sector, and I think it's the market is amazingly matured now.
Considering that what all of you have just mentioned, since then in 2005 comparing now to 2023, do you feel there is any more room of any improvement in the real estate scene?
Yeah, now
from the government side specifically.
No, it's at par now, even after the systems in place, the automation, the way they have done the automation, it's amazing. Right now, it has become paperless office.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything is so automated, all the contracts, everything is online.
Yeah.
It's all digitally signed by the seller, the buyer. It's evolving on a daily basis, right? Like any other part of the world, right now, the market is, the regulations in the market is amazing.
So it's bulletproof. Get your money in Dubai and call Raza.
Yes.
Since you have seen the whole evolution of real estate market, and you mentioned earlier that RERA plays a vital role in the market right now. And since when you started, there was no RERA in place. How has RERA made a difference to the market?
RERA is a real estate regulatory authority of Dubai, which plays a very key important role for the smooth running of the industry. Okay. It looks into matters like regulation and transparency. All right. It draws guidelines for the industry related people like developers, like brokers, and all the other professionals. It writes the regulations which they must follow. All right. So that the deals happen in a very transparent way and in a very fair manner. Basically, okay. And investor protection. RERA takes measure to protect the interests of the investor and the buyer. It draws some regulations that requires developers to obtain required permits, provide accurate information to the buyers, utilize escrow account for fund management, and it aims to safeguard investors' interests and mitigate the risks involved in off-plan purchases. It also regulates the standard practices. It has introduced a lot of licensing and accreditation requirements for real estate professionals and companies. This evaluates the overall confidence and professionalism and improves the stability of the services given to the clients, and market stability and sustainability. RERA aims to ensure that the real estate market operates in a sustainable manner. This helps to prevent the speculation behavior.
Very important,
right?
We burned with that.
The speculation behavior, it does promote a balanced market growth, and it also helps in dispute resolution. It has RDC, Rental Dispute Committee, to provide a specialized platform in resolving all real estate disputes. Right? This offers mediation and arbitration, right, services, which will reduce the burden on the courts. It provides a proper mechanism. Basically, it provides a proper mechanism of dispute settlement. RERA being here, it increases the market confidence, basically, right? Protecting the investors' rights and promoting transparency. And boost the confidence of the investors, basically. And because of RERA, I mean, there is a lot of there are a lot of investors who have been attracted locally, internationally, to come buy properties in Dubai. So RERA plays a very important key role for the growth of real estate sector.
Adding to your last point, you're right about it. And not only because of that, people feel safe, it has saved a lot of people as well, because it's not that there were no incidents where RERA had to intervene and help them out, recover the money from developers who promised A but were delivering B, for example. And on top of it, digitizing the whole process. For example, if you have a rental dispute now, you can just go online, file a complaint against an owner, or owner filing a complaint against the tenant, and resolving the whole thing over there.
Having implementing RERA as a whole, and digitalization of this, the activities, that's amazing, right? It's now, right now, nobody needs to go to RERA, to take the services. Everything is done online. Right? So I think RERA is a very key role. Once the RERA came in, the market boost was very high.
Raza, you have been one of the few people that I know who are still in the market when they bought off-plan back in 2005. Now, a lot of people have been burned, by not having the regulations and laws in place on how to do real estate investments. For obvious reasons, Dubai was just growing at that time, right? There's a lot of improvement that has happened since then. How would you say that the government policy, specifically RERA, has changed the system, how developers operate?
From 2005, the well-known developers, the big developers like Imar, Nakhil, all these were semi-government, and they were regulating well. But there were a lot of private developers, who came up, and the regulation was not there. And these developers, there was no control over their activities, basically. They used to start a development, and there was no escrow accounting, there was no regulation or a requirement of a particular percentage of amount or any securities given. There was nothing like, a person buys a plot and then he launches the project and he sells it. Right? Once that is sold, he launches the second plot. All right, and he uses the money which he collects here into the other project. What happens is the financial management and financial discipline was not there, and due to that, and suddenly when the market collapsed in 2008 because of the Lehman Brothers issues, all these developers went bust. They completely went bust. And that's where a lot of people lost their money. And there we saw a lot of tailed projects which took years to resolve the whole scenario.
So how has it changed now? What are the new improvements?
Oh yeah, now a developer, not anybody can just come and develop a project
like before.
Like
good
before.
Old days are gone.
Yeah, it's not like that. If anybody wants to develop a project, he needs to buy land with 100% paid off. He needs to pay 100% for the land. Okay, he needs to own the land, and after that, he needs to pay 50% of the construction cost as security to RERA. Then only he can launch the project and sell the project. And when he sells the project, the monies he collect, they directly go to an escrow account. And the escrow account is meant to be dispersed only for this particular project. Every particular project has a escrow account on its own name. Right? The money which is collected by a developer for that project will be spent only on that project. That has been regularized, and because of that, now in the market you don't see any stale projects. There's no question of seeing any stale project. The project, and there's 100% surety that the project will complete, and that will be delivered. Right? And it will be delivered as per how it's been told, because the permissions and the permissions are taken accordingly, and he can't just inform people or give information, any false information. Right? That also is being regulated. Right? So for an investor to invest even in off-plan property right now, he doesn't need to worry about any kind of uncertainties. Whatever happens, the project will be completed and we will be delivered.
Okay.
Right. Considering
that, it's been a very hot debate in the market when investors come in. We all know that the money is coming from outside of Dubai now, right? Unlike before, back in your days, right? The demand was locally so high that you never thought about getting buyers from abroad, right? Now it's all the other way around. Money is coming from outside to Dubai. And when they come to Dubai, everybody has their own perspective about how market behaves to off-plan. Everybody's too keen to buy ready properties. Buying a ready property versus an off-plan, there's still a bit of lack of confidence among the people, specifically if they start reaching out to the people who have been based here for a long time, and they go like, off-plan, you don't know, there will be delays, you never know when it's going to be delivered, kind of a thing. How Land Department or RERA has covered that part up? Yeah, as I told you, and it's fair enough for the people who are a little shaky on buying an off-plan property because of the past experiences from 2005 to 2008, whatever happened, right? But post the fall, post 2008 collapse, things are different. They are completely different, right? They can't be. And right now, as I told you, if a developer launches a project, there's no way other than completing the project. Right? Because the money what he's collecting also is in the escrow account of the same project. So there's no the investor needn't worry about anything. Okay. He can 100% be confident the government is taking care of his interest, his security. His money is safe. It can't go wrong. Maybe there may be delays here and there, but that's the question. People are worried about delays, that maybe it get delayed. So how is Dubai Land Department or RERA securing the investors to assure them that the project is not going to be delayed? Or if there is a delay, how much delay you think is fair?
See, as a thumb rule, by law, a developer can get delayed till a year.
Okay.
All right, without needing to pay any penalties, like But after, if its delay exceeds more than a year, he needs to pay a penalty depending on what he has written in the SPA.
Did it exist back in 2005? This penalty clauses?
2005, no, it didn't exist. No, I mean, even though something is written in the SPA, but the developer got burst, like because his investment is not there. The developer's investment is not there, so he got burst. But right now in this market, a developer can't go burst because all his funds are in there. He's invested his own funds in there. All right, and he has funds ready in the escrow account to complete the project. So there's no point of a developer getting burst nowadays, like because of the strong RERA policies.
Considering that Dubai real estate market is predominantly for investors.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not everybody knows that, but Dubai real estate market is not driven by the location of the project necessarily. It's more about how much revenue it is creating.
Yes.
There are certain locations where a building next to each other with equal life cycle of it, with the exact same view, and the difference of selling price to rental value could be between 50 to 40% different. Right?
Yes.
We have many examples of such around the city. Now, as an investor, there are certain costs to be factored in.
Yeah.
That is the number one, and the one that we all know is there for sure, is your annual service charges that the owner association charges for the upkeeping of the building.
Yes.
Meaning swimming pools, gym, jacuzzi, sauna, steam rooms, and all that stuff, right? Parking, maintenance, lobby, electricity, elevator bills, and whatever, okay? All of this is paid by the owner of that individual apartment, collectively by the whole building. All of that money is not managed by them directly. It is going through owner association, okay? And those are the ones who are deciding who to award the contract and how much it has to be charged for the whole building. So in your opinion, back then, let's say not in 2005 because we didn't have much, but later on, around 2006, 2007, there were quite some apartments relatively compared to 2005, they were handed over. How was it back then and how is it now? What's the difference? Before it was managed by developers themselves and now it's a third party. So
Back then, the homeowner association was not managed by any third party. The developer himself used to manage the homeowner association. Homeowner association, actually, it is it's an association which should be on the behalf of homeowners. All right. So that time, the developers themselves used to do the homeowner association. They used to manage that, and there is a lot of conflict of interest. Right. What the basic idea of managing homeowner association means, it is managing all the common area. The management of the common area, might it be the corridors, might it be the reception area, the pool area, the parkings, jacuzzis, what all facilities it has. So, right, what used to happen is the developer himself used to collect, he used to appoint whoever the contractors are to he used to appoint the vendors for that particular requirement for cleaning, for security, for whatever. And he used to accumulate the whole cost and he used to share it for all the owners of the building. But there was definitely a conflict of interest. There was a chance of mismanagement of funds there. So this is where again the RERA came in and it made it a mandatory that there should be a homeowner association which is a third party not related to the developer. All right. And the money collected should be gone into an account with RERA, basically. All right. So what happens now is these homeowner associations, they make a budget for what all activities they are going to do for that particular building, and they submit it to RERA, and that has got to be approved by RERA. So every year, annually, that will be approved by RERA, and even appointing the vendor, they need to tender it. They need to tender it and check who is efficient, who is effective on the work, and then they need to appoint them. Okay, so that way, what happens is I could see difference when this system came in place. There were some buildings in the city whose service charges went down by 30-40%.
Wow.
30-40%, right, comparatively to what it was before. And what happens here is once you raise a budget and the monies are collected directly by RERA, you pay directly to RERA for the service charges. RERA distributes the money as per the requirements, as per the budget which is submitted there. So, I mean, it is pretty fair, and it regulates it regulates the expenses here.
So does the owner, let's say that I own an apartment in a building, right? There are like 250 apartments in that. Do I have any say on it? Like, can I decide, like, can I vote for it? Like, okay, we don't want to pay 15 dirhams per square feet, or like, for example, not this pool company or some other pool company.
Yes, for that, what you need to do is you can become a member of the homeowner association.
Okay.
Right? As a owner of the building, you can become a member of the owner association, and you can sit in the meetings, right?
Okay.
You can sit in the general meetings and raise your voice. Like, you can give your say, whatever you want to think, or whatever you feel like, you can nominate, or you can object, or whatever.
Okay. But at the end, it's all decided by the Wayland department who to give, who not to give.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And their parameters are to make sure that the vendor, be it for security, swimming pool, or cleaning, or whatever, there are millions of jobs, are the well-reputed companies in the market.
Yeah, see, it serves two purposes. One is before they used to, for example, a swimming pool cleaner, they used to appoint some guy who doesn't even have any experience in swimming pool cleaning.
As long as he gives him a good
as long as he gives a good price, and as long as he can. But now, I mean, anybody whom they appoint should be from that particular company, a company which has that activity, like security guards. Like, you can't have anybody as security guard. The security guards from the security company, so that they are trained, they are authentic, for the job. So that's one thing. And second difference, what we have done that time and now automation again. This homeowner association has been automated now. They have opened a new system called Mullat system.
Okay.
All right, where all you can check everything online. What your service
download an application, log in, and go
and you
to
can check your what your dues are for your particular apartment, and you can pay it online. So there's no, it's a straightforward thing, So the automation also made it amazing. Like, the whole process very smooth.
Okay, cool. So this safeguards the interests of the owners of the properties as well, because they know that they're paying the deserving price for all of the annual service charges, and capitalize on the rental gains as they live, or instead, if they are living in the apartment, they know that they're not just paying for rubbish. It is properly vetted, and they're paying a fair price for it. And the whole objective of this owner association is to be non-profit, not to be making money, but to be just acting on behalf of the owners. And whoever are employed in an owner association are, of course, they are employees of that association, and that salary is also part of the whole service charges. What is the average price per square feet, you would say? Building?
Now that depends on what kind of building we're talking about.
Okay.
See, the service charges.
What's the minimum and maximum that you have seen so far?
I think now the average for a normal building is from 10-12 dirhams per square feet per year, and it can go till 30 dirhams, 40 dirhams also, depending on what kind of building, what kind of quality, right? What does it need for maintenance, how the maintenance is, how much common area they have. Some buildings have a big common area, like where they spend a lot on their air conditioning, maintaining, like, what kind of facade it has, what kind of cleaning services it needs, like how many pools it has, like, there are a lot of factors involved, like, so, but one thing what we can be rest assured is that the service charges can't be imposed on anybody randomly. That's what we need to understand. The system is in place, and your service charges, if you're charged anything for your service charge, it means to say that is being used exactly for the purpose of the services. So that's the main point behind all this. So the investors needn't worry about some building being charged more, and it all depends on what your building requires.
So our real estate market involves a lot of investor base compared to end users. It's fair to say it's more than 50% investors over here. and there are certain costs associated with investment. Anyone who is coming to Dubai thinking that I'm gonna buy a real estate and rent it out tomorrow also wants to consider that how much am I paying for registration, or otherwise known as land department transfer fee.
Yeah.
In that case, now that's very clear. That is 4% for a ready property and 4% for a under construction property, which is off plan. Right?
Yeah.
How do you see it comparing it to other parts of the world?
The transfer fees is comparatively to other parts, we are still low. Like the best part of the transfer fee in Dubai is, whatever the property is, might it be a property of 500,000 or 200 million property, the property transfer fee is fixed at 4%. So, when we compare this to international markets, we are still low comparatively to UK. Suppose, say, if you buy a property, there are different thresholds, but UK property transfer fee can go up till 12%. Okay, I'm not talking about any taxes or anything included in that, which we don't have any.
We don't have absolutely any tax.
No taxes on that. The only thing we pay is 4% straight transfer fee on whatever your transfer value is. UK can go till 12%. Australia can go 7% or so. Hong Kong is around 8.5%. So, Singapore, for that matter, like Singapore, goes to 20 to 30%, plus the taxes, plus there are a lot of clauses included in that. India also is going till 9%. And depending on the price. But that way, like, it's a very straightforward, very clean buying a property, all the additional charges are very clear. There's no confusion. And still we have a lot of room comparatively to other, we are very better off comparatively to most of the places in the world.
Where did it start from? Was it 4% since forever, since the inception of the
No,
freehold
it was,
market?
when it started, they started at 2%.
Okay.
At 2%. In 2013, they went till 4%.
4%.
That's right. And there was a period where, when there was a crash in 2008, there was a small period where the transfer fee went down till 1% for a temporary period. Then again, they made it 2%, and 2013, they doubled it to 4%. Right?
So it is safe to say that for an investor who's buying a property, they are absolutely no hidden cost. It's very clear. The government charges you only the 4% transfer or registration fee, and from that point, it's paid once, of course, because you're going to buy the property. You're not buying the same property every year, and that's 4%. And after that, there is no other fees the investor has to pay to land department directly for any kind of tax or recurring service charges, nothing like that.
No, there is no other taxes involved in this. This would be a 4% plus. There's a trustee fee of 4,200, which we pay for the trustee for processing the whole, for doing the whole process. And now the best part here is that whatever the ticket size is, whatever the property value is, still the percentage remains the same.
Okay.
It's straightforward on that.
Can you clarify on the part where if I'm buying the property today off plan under construction and I'm paying 4%,
Yeah.
and once the property is ready, do I pay the 4% again?
No, you only pay once. Like once you buy off-plan property, you still pay 4%.
But you don't get the title deed.
You get a pre-title deed. It is a title deed, but it's a pre-title deed. The title deed for the property which is not completed. All right. So once the property is completed, the pre-title deed converts into a title deed. So there you don't need to pay any fees for again any land department fees there. Okay. Maybe you'll be paying a nominal few hundreds for getting a title deed printed.
That's it, but nothing more.
Registration. That's it. But there would not be any transfer fee again added onto that.
Now, considering the transfer procedure of a property from seller's name to a buyer's name, or from developer's name to the buyer's name, I believe there is less than 24 hours process. But basically, it's just a computerized system. So the trustee office, in that case, uploads the data into the land department server, and it's approved over there. And there you go. You have the property title transferred to your name. How long does it take? Where does it stand? This timeline, where does it stand comparing to the other countries that they were talking about earlier? How long does it take to transfer a property, for example, in UK?
And now that depends. Like, in different countries, it's different time scales. Like, but most of the countries, it's pretty much at the same time. Like in Dubai, like you just go to the trustee. The buyer and seller goes to the trustee, and everything is done there, and the buyer comes out with a new title deed, basically.
Okay.
All right. I mean, in some places it happens like that, and some places, like you need to wait for a couple of days to get your whatever the ownership document is. But here the speed is. I mean, here the best part here is the automation. And the automation which has taken place now. Like just the landlord, the buyer or the seller, they just walk in with only their ID. That's it. They don't take any other paperwork with them. Nothing. No paperwork. It's all done digitally. Like all their signatures are done digitally. Just they walk in with their ID and get the property transferred.
Let's talk about mortgages.
Okay.
Real estate and mortgages go hand in hand.
Yeah.
We all know that how the cycle works and how beneficial banks are, at least at one point, which is buying a real estate where they can really benefit your investment, right? So you bought your first house in 2004. Did you go for a mortgage?
Dubai didn't have any, the banks were not giving any mortgages that time.
What?
They didn't
Because you were a non-resident, is that so?
Yeah, they didn't know what mortgage is. Right? So, I mean, when I came here in 2000, I mean, I bought my property with cash. We came from the UK, and I mean, that's a land of financial management, where you have 1,000 kind of mortgages. Like, you have a choice of choosing a different kind of mortgage. But when we came here and when we approached the bank there said, I mean, there's no mortgages for expats. I mean, there's nothing called mortgage, There's not even one type of mortgage which they can give to expats. So I think it's end of 2005. There was one product which started. There were a few banks like Tamweel. There were only few mortgage packages. Like it all started in end of 2005. But till then there was no mortgage at all. We didn't have any kind of mortgage here,
Wow, I'm genuinely surprised right now. What difference do you see comparing back then and now? How did mortgage help the real estate market? First of all, how did it originate? You said it started back in 2005 late end, right?
Yeah.
And when did you start really seeing mortgage happening in Dubai?
Fortunately or unfortunately, the mortgage part from 2005 till 2008, the mortgages started in 2005, and we had a first big fall in 2008, the Lehman Brothers. So this part, I mean, this was very non-regulated. This time was very non-regulated even in mortgages point. Okay, that time there was no central bank check here.
Okay,
all right. They just started the mortgages. I mean, the system was very raw with the banks. So what used to happen that time, like it happened in the US as well. Like, I mean, the whole fall was because of that reason. The valuation of the property, there was no proper valuation of the property because the demand was so high. There was no regulation. The prices were going crazy. The demand was too much. It was a new thing in the market. Freehold sale was a new thing in the market. So there was no central bank check, no credit check. Suppose I go to a bank, I ask them, okay, this is what I am. Can I get a loan? They apply and they give yes. They say you can get a loan of 1 million. So what I do, I go to the second bank and I ask them. They said, yeah, they can also give 1 million because there's no central check. So if I'm eligible for 1 million, I can go for 5 banks and take 5 loans. All right. So
oh my God, could have been such a paradise at that time.
It was paradise, but it was a dangerous paradise. Like it was a danger zone. That's I mean the things get very sensitive. Yeah. So if anything happens to the market, you're all crushed.
Yeah, you're all exposed to it.
So that's exactly what happened. All right. People overexpose themselves, thinking with the greed of making money. Because they buy a property today and they sell it off after a week, after a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, or 5 months, they're doubling the property value, right? So I mean, they take a loan from the bank, they buy a property and they sell it off within 6 months. Right? So I mean, there were a lot of things happening that time.
How did it change? What made it change after that?
2008, right? It all got crashed, it all got crashed. All these people, who were, and one more thing in Dubai is that we didn't have a bankruptcy law. So the check bounce was a criminal offense. Anybody's check bounces, he can just be arrested. So straight, he can be arrested. So all these kind of concerns happen, and when the crash happened, there are a lot of people who got stuck, and that's when the people, a lot of people left the country because and a lot of people were arrested as well, because of non-payments. They couldn't pay. The market value gone down. There was no rental yield on that. They couldn't sustain, and some properties were, the values went down drastically. It was a free fall on the prices, because it was hiked as well. The prices were, spiked up. Because of the demand and because of cash flow from the banks, everybody getting a mortgage, trying to buy. So all these things happened. 2008 crash, things changed. Everything changed after that. The central bank came into place, and now if you apply for a loan, you have 100 dirhams of spending on your credit card, even that comes out, so you can't go any wrong. The system, the banking system became very strong. Now, right, you can't just go to every bank and you can't, there's no loophole there. It's very straightforward and very strong.
Do you still think that there is improvement to come in that sector of the mortgages?
Yeah, definitely. There would be there are many other type of mortgages which we don't have it here yet, which we will be, in fact,
honestly speaking, I can't imagine over here a resident get a mortgage, of course, yes. On top of it, a non-resident also gets a mortgage. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. It's improvising. Now a resident can get a mortgage, a non-resident can get a mortgage, and you can get a second home mortgage. It's not only one you can get, but it's all calculative.
Okay.
The financial discipline is very strong.
So for first property, how much do you have to make a down payment?
It depends. It depends upon your portfolio and your profile. If it,
I heard it's 20% down payment for a first property.
Basically, it's a 20%. As a thumbnail, it's a 20%.
Okay.
Thumbnail is.
Do you think it could be lesser than 20%?
Yeah. If your profile is very strong, if the bank says bank is satisfied with your profile, it may go down on that.
Still go down to zero.
And if the profile is not that good, sometimes it may take 30% down payment, 40% down payment, depending on your profile.
Okay.
And depending on what kind of mortgage you are getting. You can, if you're non-resident, even any other country, even that is also accepted now, right? Because of the central bank, the credit bureau, they accept the bureaus from the other countries as well.
Okay.
So mortgages have totally, improved. Totally evolved from that time till now. But there is still a lot of room to come in. There's a lot of room to improvise on banking sector, which I think in the coming years it will be a lot better.
But so far it is good for any investor who wants to, a non-resident investor who comes to Dubai, wants to buy a property, taking the help from a bank. You think it's still a good choice to do so?
Yes, of course. It's a very good choice. If anybody can wants a loan here, if his financials are strong back home, yeah, definitely he can produce his documents and he can still get a loan. But the only thing is that initial down payment would be a little higher, maybe 50%, or maybe 40, 50, or 60% for that matter. But he can still get he can take a benefit of whatever loan he can get on that.
Let me give this a scenario. Let me paint a picture over here. So let's say that there is an investor for $1 million dirham property.
Yeah.
Okay, there are two properties next door to each other. They're exactly identical. The owner of one property, property A, has paid full cash, okay, $1 million dirham for that, and property owner of B has opted a bank loan. Okay, where let's say as a non-resident, he's paid 50% down payment and 50% loan for another 15, 20, 25 years, whatever the regulation is. Okay. Are they both making the same amount of money in terms of return on investment? Is this guy who paid cash and he's making 8%? That's what we know right now. 6 to 8% is the average rental income. So the guy who paid cash, he's making 6 to 8%. Is it still beneficial for the person who's taking a loan and be making that kind of money on it?
No, it all depends on your rental yield. what your rental return is.
Okay.
So your rental return is directly proportional to the interest rate what you're paying.
So basically, if I'm paid after like if the property was $1 million dirham, I paid $500,000 dirham. For the remaining $500,000 dirhams, I don't have to inject any cash. The rental will pay it off on its own.
Yes.
And there is no negative cash flow on my side.
Yes. That's how it works. But I think if anybody can take a bank loan, it would be good. Like, definitely his returns of investment will be better than putting all the cash in the unit.
Okay. All right. So, if I may extend it a little bit, I've got another question to it. So, putting the same scenario but in a different way. I've got $1 million dirham cash. Would you advise me to buy 2 properties instead of 1 and opt for loans on both the properties and let the mortgage be paid off by the rental yield of it?
Yeah, if you're eligible for the mortgage, yes, I would suggest you take 2 properties with a down payment.
It's a smarter way to go forward rather than just putting in one property for a cash. Definitely.
Because
over the time period, it will pay out off.
You're accumulating 2 properties. You're making 2 properties. Your capital appreciation will be on both your properties. So definitely, ultimately, you will gain on the capital appreciation. Right?
Okay.
So I think, and you don't need to have any cash flows after that.
Okay.
So it also depends on what your thing is. Like, you want, are you buying the property just for rental income, which you're surviving on that income? Then you need you can't buy a property with mortgage. You need to buy a property and you get straight 6% or 7% or 8%, depending on what the property is. And you need that money. You're buying the property just to get the money monthly. Okay, so you need that money. That's fine. But if you want to increase your portfolio and you want to increase your capital gains on that, and I suggest that you need to buy 2 properties with 50% down payment on each and 50% mortgage. So it all depends on what your need is, what your goal is. So it all depends on that.
Okay, so just to summarize, if you're buying a property to be dependent upon the rental income of it to survive, then of course it's not suggestible. Otherwise, Raza's recommendation is to multiply as many properties as you can.
Yeah.
So if you have $1 million dirham, invest in 2, 3, 4, whatever it comes in the range and whatever the affordability is, but multiply it by multiple rather than just going for one.
Yes, I totally.
Very well. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you.